Welcome to this presentation about the use of cooperative learning in teaching English as a foreign language to deaf students. Today, I will tell you about a study which evaluates the Jigsaw and Fan-n-Pick techniques in this context, focusing on how these strategies can help to deaf students to learn English. Nowadays, English has become as the international language. However, deaf students face many challenges in its learning, as in many cases, they have difficulty using their national language. This study focuses on evaluating how cooperative learning can facilitate the acquisition of English by these students. We know that learning a second language is closely related to the development of the third language. For deaf students, this acquisition is delayed by sensory barriers, reducing the amount of information that they can process, which make a huge impact in their grammatical development. In this study, we consider the sign language as the first language, Spanish as their second, and English as the third language. Cooperative learning is defined as the use of a small group where students work together to maximize their own learning, offers an inclusive and collaborative method that is ideal for students with special educational needs. It also facilitates the long-term memory and provide a positive learning environment. In this study, we use two cooperative techniques, Jigsaw and Fan-n-Pick. The Jigsaw techniques help to reduce conflict and promote positive educational outcome through the collaboration among the students. On the other hand, Fan-n-Pick foster teamwork and improve communication and social skill in English, which is crucial for the active participation of the students. The central problem is intended to address it that deaf students face a unique challenge in learning English as their third language. Cooperative learning, such as Jigsaw and Fan-n-Pick, can help to solve some of this problem by facilitating the learning of English grammar, vocabulary, and reading. The objective of the study is to include evaluating the effectiveness of these techniques and developing grammar and vocabulary skills, identifying the main difficulties faced by this student, and analyzing the perspective of both students and teachers. In this study, cooperative learning techniques were applied through the school year 22 and 23 in a sixth grade of primary education with deaf and hearing students. Our main focus was to evaluate how these inclusive methodologies impact the development of language skills in a highly diverse environment. The school context reflect a traditional environment where classroom were a teacher-centered approach with allowed interaction among students. In addition, competition rather than cooperation prevailed, and both teacher and student lack knowledge of cooperative learning structure. The student level of English was low, which posed an additional challenge. The school where the study was carried out is a reference center in Andalusia for deaf students, which facilitates inclusion. It has a sign language program and has specialized and experienced staff in teaching students with hearing difficulties. 2 hearing impaired students participate in the study, with one of them with a hereditary profound hearing loss and the other one with a Goldman syndrome. In addition, the group includes 18 hearing students, including students with integration problems. This heterogeneous group offered a unique opportunity to analyze the effectiveness of cooperative learning. At the beginning of the school year, an initial assessment was conducted to determine the level of curricular competence of the student and their learning style. Then they were divided into a heterogeneous based group with the objective of maximizing cooperation among students with different abilities. 6 teaching units were at work on using cooperative learning techniques. To work on vocabulary and reading, the Fan-n-Pick technique was used, while Jigsaw was used to grammar. Both approaches promote inclusion and ensure the active participation of all the students. The activity and material were adapted to be accessible to a student with hearing difficulties. For vocabulary work, flashcards and visual aids were employed. Using the Fan-n-Pick technique, which encouraged team interaction, roles were rotated to ensure everyone's participation, and cognitive and metacognitive strategies were implemented to help deaf students to better retain the vocabulary. The reading activity followed a sequence of pre, while, and post reading. During the reading stage, the Fan-n-Pick technique was used to encourage reading comprehension and close the lesson with the posing and question activity, where the student analyzed the most difficult question, thus encouraging critical thinking. The grammar sessions were developed using the Jigsaw technique, where the students work in a expert group to research a specific grammar topic and then teach it to the rest of the classmates. In each unit, including a filling gap activity, which facilitated consolidation of what they have learned. The study data were collected using rubric to assess vocabulary, reading, grammar, and daily classwork. Generated text based on the actual material adapted for deaf students, while also implementing allowing for an accurate assessment of each student progress. Data analysis was based on the continuous monitoring of the result obtained through the rubrics. In addition, a comparison was made with the academic result of the previous year to evaluate the impact of the cooperative learning techniques. In this slide, we will present the overall result of deaf students, Hugo and Samuel, after implementing these techniques. Compared to the previous year, in which more traditional methodologies were applied, both students show a significant improvement in the academic performance. It is important to highlight that the objective was to improve class participation and the development of the language skill, focusing especially on the inclusion and adaptation of hearing needs. Hugo's performance during this course showed an interesting evolution, although he started with a very good result. In the first unit, his grade dropped slightly in the second half of the course, especially in the area of vocabulary and grammar. Even so, Hugo achieved a final average of 7, which represents a significant improvement of the previous year, although there are still areas of attention, especially in grammar and reading comprehension. Samuel's academic results follow a similar pattern to Hugo. Starting with good grades in the first unit, but experiencing fluctuation, especially in vocabulary and grammar. Although Samuel showed difficulties in the assimilation of grammar concepts, his overall performance improved, achieving an average final grade of 7, which marked a significant improvement over the previous year, where he attained only a 4. While comparing the result of the deaf student with the hearing peers, Hugo and Samuel obtained a final score of 7, while the average for the hearing student was 6.73. Although the deaf student took adapted tests that missed some skill, the result in the area assesses were very similar, which reinforced the effectiveness of the curricular adaptation and the inclusive approach applied. When look at the performance within the group work, although the deaf students started with a comparable performance to their hearing peers, they experienced a slight decline in the middle of the course. On the other hand, the hearing student managed to maintain greater stability in their performance. Cooperative learning fosters a positive interdependence among students, which contribute to an inclusive and collaborative learning environment for deaf students. This is critical as they need more than their sign language and national language to fully participate in global society. Moreover, as noted, cooperative learning not only improves academic performance but also student social and cognitive engagement. Cooperative learning not only improves language skills but also social and collaborative skills, which are crucial for classroom integration. In our study, the student improved significantly in vocabulary and grammar, and both teacher and student positively value the implementation of this methodology. The student faced particular difficulty in acquiring phonological skill as well as vocabulary retention. While their hearing peers could consolidate vocabulary in a few rounds, the deaf student need more time to achieve the same result. They also found reading comprehension particularly challenging, a task they could hardly ever accomplish alone without the support of cooperative work. The use of interactive tools and visual resources such as flashcards help the deaf student to overcome some of the learning barrier. In addition, sign language was instrumental in facilitating the transfer of concepts between languages, which allow for deeper and more meaningful learning. Among the weakness areas of this study, we can highlight the lack of detailed academic results from the previous year, which limit our ability to compare comprehensively. We also observed a certain lack of familiarity with cooperative techniques on the part of the student and teacher, which slow down the learning process. Finally, it was not positive to assess the auditory skill, which limit the full assessment of the deaf student communicative competence. We propose a number of improvements for future studies, including additional training for teacher and student in cooperative techniques, the incorporation of more global assessment method, and progressively adaptation of the difficulty of the material to maintain the content's level of motivation and performance. What is most striking about the study is that despite having a curricular adaptation to address their specific needs, the deaf students work with the same materials as their hearing peers. This reinforces the effectiveness of the adaptive strategy and cooperative approach implemented, as they achieve comparable performance to their peers despite their hearing limitations. Thank you for your attention. If you have any question, I will be happy to answer you. You can contact me through the email or link in the profile shown on the screen. It has been a pleasure to share with you the result of this study about cooperative learning. That's it. Thank you very much.